up, bitches? I'm back. So today I'm building a house for my 43rd generation in my Sims family. I've got issues. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So this house is for 2 young adults and 2 children. I have shoved the children in the garage. I just imagine that the mom of this household wants to give her kids as much space as she possibly can, and shoving them in the garage seemed like the best fit. So for the garage, I have gone for like a Drake and Josh style, like with the platforms and the bed raised up kind of thing. I also want to say I do a glitchy trick with the roof, so you're gonna see me checking it a lot because it gets glitchy when you do this. If you end up putting walls down, it'll delete it, so if you're wondering why I'm checking the roof 80,000 times, that's why. Now, this video is 37 minutes long, and I do want to say this house absolutely does not warrant 37 minutes, but I didn't want to make it go too fast because I don't want you to throw up. Well, I kind of do. I'm not gonna lie to you. So just hang on to your ass. It's not gonna be good. Now, this house does use CC, but I will link all of it in the description. But if you do see a particular bit of CC that you like, oh, I like that door, I like that plant, just leave a comment with a timestamp or where it is, and I will send you a link to the pack that it's from. So that way you don't have to go scouring for wherever that plant or door is. And I have tested this house. I'm not going to post it because of the amount of CC that it uses, but I have tested this house, and there was only one thing that didn't work, which was the bed on the loft in the garage, and that was just a matter of me moving it slightly to the side. Also, if you do leave a comment, I would like feedback on something. I don't know which is better, YouTube captions or captions that are edited on the video, because the YouTube captions are kind of harder to do, but I know you can move them around. But I know when the captions are on the video itself, you can color it and it helps to distinguish between people and stuff like that. Because I want my videos to be as accessible as possible, but then I see these videos on like Instagram and YouTube where they'll have captions on the videos, but they're like very bouncy or the font's really weird, so I don't know what the best way of going about captions is, so please let me know. And by the way, yes, I am going to bring up that video at some point. And I also just want to say that I do go back over some of the areas of this house and redo different areas. So if you're like, hey, that looks like ass, I do go back over some spots. I would also like to say that this is my first time doing a voiceover for a video, and I am so sorry. There's gonna be so many cuts where I talk, because I stutter over my words a lot, so I'm trying to make this as clear and concise as I possibly can. And I'm also Southern, so my accent isn't doing me any favors. So I guess I should also probably go ahead and talk about the Schlatt video. I'm so sorry you had to witness that. So basically, a while back, he had posted that he was going to do a video reviewing weird collections, and it had to be canceled because so many people were sending in videos and photos of bones. And I was originally going to enter that one, but then I was like, oh crap, I have a bone shelf. Otherwise, I would have to block out that entire shelf, and that would just look hella suspicious. So eventually, the next time comes around, and this time it is for bedrooms. And at the time, my bedroom was a mess, and I had the bone shelf, so I was like, okay, I can't really show off my bedroom. What's the next best thing? So of course, the next logical solution was to turn myself into a man. I figured I looked vaguely Schlatt-like, and I also had just a big bald cat, so I was like, hey, why not? Even if I did get accepted into it, I wouldn't get put in the actual video, so not that many people would see it.
Oh, fuck. Oh, that's way worse.
Now, I have applied for the next one. I don't know whether or not to post the videos, even if they don't get accepted. I will say, for this next one, I have started a plot. Yes, I have somehow managed to pack a plot into a 59-second video. Even though the video's 59 seconds, the footage I had all put together was around 16 minutes, and to say that that deterred me from wanting to edit would be an absolute understatement. I'm also not going to post his reaction to the original video because he's already done that, but I have posted the original video on my YouTube channel with captions if you're interested in watching that. This is also like the 14th house I've built for these people. Because I can build a house and absolutely love the exterior of it, but then absolutely hate the inside. And I know what you're thinking, Laken, why don't you just download a house from the gallery? Well, the problem with that is the insides of the house are usually decorated, which is fine, but then I have to go in and redecorate everything to fit my Sims, which isn't a problem normally because you can just place the house down unfurnished. The problem with that is, though, is a lot of houses in the gallery now use debug, but most of the items in debug are counted as an indoor item. So then, like, 80 things outside are removed, and then it's like, well, then I've just lost half the house. I also do want to say that I think the exterior of this house is a lot better than the interior. I don't think I'm good at interiors at all. That's also why on the gallery, which I will put my EA ID in the description if you're interested at all, on my gallery I post houses that I build, but it's only exteriors. I only like building house exteriors. That's the only thing I think I'm really good at in The Sims. And I leave the insides completely blank, and I try most of the time to make sure there's no layout, so that way, if you're like, oh, I suck at building exteriors, but I like doing interiors, bada bing, bada boom, you've got the outside done, and you could just do the inside. So if that intrigues you, that will be in the description. I think my ear's bleeding. Hang on. My body's quirky like that. No, never mind, we're good. Also, for the kids' bedroom, I tried to make it mismatched as shit. I imagine the mom kind of just lets them do whatever they want to most of the time because she's a nurse and working most of the time. So I imagine that she has splurged on their bedroom and there's toys all over the house and it's chaos, man. Sorry I'm asking you guys to comment so many things, it's just I really need feedback on stuff. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But if you're gonna comment on anything, please let it be the captions, because I don't know whether or not to edit them on the video or just do it through YouTube. I'm just worried that the ones that I would edit on would be too distracting. I'm also using throughout this house the photo frames that you can put your own pictures in, so if you're wondering why I'm putting a bunch of blank frames around, that's why. I also have a Reddit post on my Sims family if you're interested in reading the comments on that, because I do go into like what's made me play the same family for so long and the tricks that I use for it. I also thought about maybe making my own save file. That's something else I'd like feedback on. You know, while you're already down there answering the 80,000 other things that I've asked. The one thing about The Sims that bothers me is there's really no integration. And what I mean by that is, if you download Get Famous, then for some reason the land grabs aren't famous. Like, I think it should affect the other worlds that you have. Because we know damn well the land grabs are famous. They own a university. So for a save file, I would just like to fix The Sims 4. Like, make people that should be famous, have Sims actually know their coworkers and have friends, wants, fears, any extra traits, give them family dynamics, sentiments, relationship problems, you know. As well as go in and fix all the little issues with The Sims 4, like the house in Glimmerbrook that has stairs that leads to nothing, that one random tile that exists in Oasis Springs behind that one house for some reason. I also want to fix that one house in Brindleton Bay, which I absolutely hate, because of how high the toilet paper is. It pisses me off. Nobody's reaching that. But I wouldn't want to, like, actually change the houses or the way the Sims look or anything. It's just adding on from packs that already exist. Like I said, the relationship dynamics, sentiments, fears, like all that kind of stuff. So that way, when you join the save, there's actually things going on. And I also want to use the Manage Worlds feature to edit each family's, like, the things that can happen in each family, because I'll look and suddenly Eliza Pancakes has a horse in a suburban neighborhood. So, you know, I don't know if it's been done before, though. If it has, I won't do it because it already exists. I also don't know if I would go in and add Bob and Eliza's son, because I know their house got updated, but I think it's for infant stuff only, so. Also, I'm sorry I haven't talked about this house. I don't really know what to talk about with it, because you could see everything that I'm doing. And like I said, I am not good at all at decorating Sims houses. I do also want to slowly, like, stop using BuildCC, but it's so hard when Peacemaker Max 20 exist. They make such good Maxis Match content. It hurts the soul. Because I get overwhelmed when I have a lot of CC. But I want to transition so that way I'm only using cast CC. Because Lord knows they need it. Because I'm telling you, some of them Sims, they look rough. Now, my main Sim, she's very eccentric and she has a lot of drama going on. Her birth mother keeps not showing up for her autonomously. And she likes a guy and he doesn't like her back. And she's also hearing these weird demon-like whispers. You know how it goes. Because yeah, this family's also supernatural. At least she is. The other three aren't. I also kept the kids' room very generic because they haven't aged up just yet. But I find that the kids in this game don't really have a personality, so I tend to be very generic with them. Also, Businesses and Hobbies just released, and I think I'm gonna make a new family for that, so if you're interested in seeing that, also add that to the growing list of comments. Can you tell I don't know how to bridge between topics very well? I think I'm gonna add an also counter in the corner. So if you just want to put me on mute, I completely understand. I've got ADHD and I can yap for hours. I genuinely impress myself sometimes, honestly. I also just went in and edited down all the audio I have and I'm only at 10 minutes and I already want to kill myself. Cause in reality, I've been talking for about 40 minutes. That's how much I stutter. That, and it's also me saying the exact same sentence 80,000 times to get different takes. You think I'm naturally this stupid? No! This is a craft that I work at. Anyways, this is pretty much the final exterior of the front, and we're gonna move on to doing the backyard, which goes through a few phases. For the backyard, I decided to use mostly the backyard stuff pack because I don't use it that much, so I really wanted an excuse to use it. I also ended up moving the treehouse because it is absolutely massive, and when it's not put together, you don't really know the scale and the placement of everything, so I ended up just moving the treehouse outside of the fence, but I do end up keeping it. Oh, and another fun thing you're gonna notice is the game glitched and ended up removing all of the terrain paint I did, so I end up having to go back and redo that. I didn't put that in the video, but if you notice that it looks a little different, that's why. There's not really a whole lot to talk about when it comes to the exterior because it's the interior is when shit really hits the fan. There is a lot going on and a lot that will need to be explained, so I am sorry for what you're going to have to witness. But like I said, for the exterior, I'm pretty happy with it. But I'm gonna be completely honest with you, even though this is like the 14th house I've built, I am probably not going to stay in this house very long, which hurts the soul, but this is a house that's not for my main heir, so I imagine she's probably gonna move out at some point, and that's just gonna hurt my soul a little bit. So I might end up building her an apartment, or maybe something with Businesses and Hobbies, because when I built this house, Businesses and Hobbies hadn't come out yet, and I kind of want to experiment with it, but I don't know if she's the kind to own a small business. She might could just live above one, but I still have absolutely no idea what I want to do with her life. Because I had this big dramatic story planned out, like this dark grim drama, and she comes out the peppiest motherfucker I've ever seen. So that's really thrown me off my game. So now I'm having to change everything I've had planned. But it's fine, because that's one of the things I like about The Sims. At least with the way I play anyway, I try and just let the drama happen naturally. Cause let me tell you, The Sims, especially with eco lifestyle, can really throw you off your game. Let me tell you a funny little story. So I had this Sims couple that were really in love until they got married. She started yelling at his ass constantly. Now, I don't know if you know this about eco lifestyle, but you can put in for different initiatives and get different bonuses and stuff like that. And one of them is called free love, which means you can do any romantic interaction with anybody and it will go well. Now, the only problem with that is because it's an initiative, they will do it autonomously. And when her husband's brother came over to visit, I was too late and caught them having sex in the closet. So I used MC Command Center to check and see if she was pregnant, and she was. So I decided to have her sleep with her husband, and then when she took a pregnancy test and told him she was pregnant, he was like, what? So The Sims can really throw you some curveballs on its own. It only happened one other time, but I managed to catch it in time before my Sim slept with his son's girlfriend. However, his wife did catch him and it ended in divorce, and the son broke up with his girlfriend. It was crazy. Mixed with Sims dying and getting abducted, it really spices up the game. And I did end up having the opposite problem with my main Sim, where she's overly peppy. Her mother was just an absolute bitch. And I'm not saying that lightly. She was rude to her parents, her siblings, her friends, lovers, anybody. It was to the point I couldn't really do anything with her, so I just decided to make her have a child and then have that child get adopted by a different family using MC Command Center and the Relationships and Pregnancy Overhaul mod. Because with those mods, you can make it so that way when you put a Sim up for adoption, they'll actually get adopted by another Sim family in the world. Which is what brings me back to she's trying to meet her mother, but her mother just keeps despawning on her own, which I've just connected to her being a bitch. Because she will invite her mother out, or her mother will invite her out, and then they'll go to that lot, and then the mother's just not there. I'm telling you, the drama writes itself! But now my Sim is living with her sister and her nephews, so who knows where the drama will take her. Hopefully not to the fucking closet where everybody else is ending up. That's something else I wish they would fix, is the family tree. I say that because of the whole having sex with your spouse's other family members. Anyway, because the family tree in and of itself is so glitchy, but it doesn't recognize that many family members to the point my family tree can accidentally become a circle, which kind of impresses me, honestly, because it doesn't recognize great aunts or uncles, step-parents, any form of cousins past first. It's just something I really hope that they would fix, but it's EA, so obviously they're not going to do that. But the problem only really starts happening with really long family trees, so... And they know most people are not getting to that point, so I don't think it's something they're ever going to bother fixing. Now, on the bright side, we are almost to the interior, which is good because I'm running out of topics. I didn't think I would, but then I edited down 40 minutes of talking into 10 minutes, and I was like, well, this isn't good. But yeah, I just kind of ended up slapping the treehouse to the side. There's no path to it or anything, but it's there. I actually think the treehouse is a very annoying object. It doesn't seem to matter if I lock it or not. Everybody constantly takes naps in it. But at the same time, I'm like, these kids would absolutely have a treehouse. So I've decided just to suffer. Now, for the interior, I decided to try and do like a mismatched look. Because they're not super broke or anything. I imagine her mother gave her some money to buy this house. This garage ended up being a lot more of a pain in the ass than I thought it was going to be. Primarily because of the platform, but I do eventually get it to work. Now, you're going to notice that I end up doing a cut between each room. That's because I went in and built the room first, decided how it was going to look, and then came back to record. Because I am very indecisive when it comes to building, and I thought it would be very annoying, so I just decided to go ahead and cut it out. As you can see, this platform, I just could not get it to work. I wanted it to be rounded at the edge, but it just would not happen, so I had to settle for a square. Which, I mean, it looks fine, but it bothers me for some reason that it's not rounded. I wanted to put the stilt platform, but it wouldn't let me do that either, so I had to give up my hopes and dreams. As you can see, last minute, I decided to go in and add another bathroom because this house would only have one bathroom otherwise, which it's only, in reality, a 2-bedroom house, so it's not that crazy, but I was like, with 4 Sims, there has to be another bathroom somewhere, so I decided to put it in the garage, which I imagine it was originally a storage room of some sort that she converted into a bathroom, so I tried to make it look very homemade, because I imagine she harassed her brother to do it, who is not a handyman in the slightest, but she does not want to get her nails dirty, so she had him do it. And he was like, well, fuck it, here you go, this is the best I got. I tried my best to make this the most cluttered room in the house because she is absolutely spoiling the crap out of them when it comes to toys. But she's like, you can have all this stuff, but you've got to find the place for it, and it's not going in the main house. Because I think she wants to give them as many opportunities as she can. She's going to enroll them in after-school activities and eventually get them computers and just spoil the living crap out of them, which might eventually end up becoming a problem, but that's future me's problem. My current problem, though, is with the Relationship and Pregnancy Overhaul mod. It got updated so that way you can pick how many kids your sim wants to have, or you can also let it be randomized, and I randomized it, and she wants to have 5 children. She says, as she shoves her kids in the garage. But I mean, with shoving the sons in the garage, it's fine because they're like very close. They're constantly autonomously hugging and playing, and they've got a good bond. But she'll end up with another bedroom once my main sim moves out, so she might end up having another baby. I don't know about 5 though. I might have her adopt just to make sure she doesn't end up with multiples again. But yeah, I tried to pack in a ton of different kind of stuff for the kids to do because, like I said, they haven't aged up, so I don't know what their personality's gonna be or what they're gonna want to do, so I just made sure to have a good variety of stuff. I also tried to make it as easily convertible as I could. Even though most of the items in this bedroom are very kitty, I tried to make it so that way there was also some items they could use when they get older, so that way I'm not having to switch out as much stuff. And at some point I think I'm gonna have this family get a pet, but I'm not sure what kind. I thought about maybe getting them a chicken or a hamster. You know, the pets you typically get. Because I don't think these boys would want a regular pet at all. They're always running around and getting up to some shit. They feel like the kind of kids that would somehow come home with a horse and you're not really sure where they got it from. But yeah, you can see the bed on the loft. It wasn't able to be used because of the dresser, so I just scooted it forward a little bit and it worked just fine. Which I am surprised with the amount I cluttered this house that was the only thing that didn't work. I also gave them a little sitting area because I imagine they bring their friends over to hang out. And I was going to give them a TV, but that would block the dartboard, so I had to make a choice and I chose the dartboard. Because that's an item I don't use very much. Same with the foosball table, which I end up adding in just a moment. Because I keep hoping if I add the actual items down, then I'll use them, which keeps not happening, but one of these days it's gonna work, I swear. I have the exact same problem with lots. I never leave the home lot. It doesn't seem to matter how many fun lots I place down, I never end up using anything. But on the bright side, we are now done with the first bedroom. Yippee! Like I said, it's a very half-assed bathroom. There's no shower or anything, but that just adds to the fun. There's a sprinkler outside. They'll be fine. Another thing I want to say is when I built this house, I didn't have access to Tool Mod because it wasn't updated yet. So the curtains are going to look really bad, but I do eventually reinstall my Tool Mod and go in and fix them, and you'll notice that in the pictures. I am also now very self-conscious about saying the word also, so I'm using every other possible word to avoid it. Also, since I've ran out of things to talk about, I feel like I'm slowly turning into that Hug Bees quote.
The shape goes into a shape press that presses the shape into a pressed shape.
But we're almost done with the bathroom, and the last thing I'm going to do is go in and switch out the chair, because it just felt like a bit much, so I switch it out for a red one from Tiny Living, and I just think it suits the space a little bit better. Look at me talking like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So once I'm done switching the chair out, I decided to go in and change all the colors of the doors throughout the house, because I tried doing the inside of this house a couple of times, and I could never get the blue to look quite right, so I switched it out for a cream color and put the blue on the walls instead. And yes, it does bother me that the inside doors are cream and the outside doors are white, but like I said, I just couldn't get it to work. So now we've moved on into the dining room, and you can see the empty photo frames that I was talking about, which are from Growing Together. And you'll also be able to see what I was talking about with the really glitchy curtains. I liked the white curtains, but the frame of it was different. But once I installed my tool mod pack, I was able to shrink it down and put it into the darker wood frame. There was only 2 rooms in this house that I didn't pre-build before filming, which were the 2 bedrooms, and every other room I built before I filmed. Because I really liked the outside of it, but I just couldn't get the inside to match the vibe of the outside. But once I changed the color of the door frames, it really helped. I am personally a really big fan of the dining room, but I just don't like the kitchen. When I built this house, the update had just came out with the brand new base game counters, and I really wanted to use them. And I think I made it work all right, but I just look at this kitchen and something about it is off, and I don't know what it is. I tried to clutter it a good bit, but I'm not very good when it comes to cluttering. So I think the base of the kitchen is good. Everything else I don't like. but I don't think I could do any better, so I just kind of accepted my fate. This is definitely a good enough house. I've noticed when I build houses, I'm really trying to encapsulate the vibe of The Sims 3 into The Sims 4, but it just never works. I haven't played The Sims 3 in like 7 years, but I just loved the vibe of it. And I know they re-released it for newer computers, but I am absolutely not paying for it or going to play it. Cause The Sims 3, it holds a special place in my heart, but it was one of the laggiest games I had ever played. It was incredibly laggy, everything took forever to load, and it would crash constantly. I miss the idea of The Sims 3, but not in practice. And I do know that people have released mods and stuff in order to fix the lagging and the crashing, but it's one of those things where you shouldn't have to have mods for the game to function correctly. And I'm already having to do that with The Sims 4. I do not need another one on my plate. So I've just been living vicariously through Mari Ray. They have a series where they're doing every single Sims 3 lifetime wish, which I highly recommend watching their series. I will put a link in the description to that as well. But it made me realize just how lackluster the Sims 4 aspirations are, because most of them are just tutorials. Like, you could complete multiple aspirations in one lifetime, where with The Sims 3 you could only really complete one in a lifetime, which is yet again something else I hope they would fix, going in and updating the aspirations, as well as updating the scenarios tab, because I agree with Lil Simsy on this topic. I think that the events shouldn't be a one-time thing and should just be moved to the scenarios tab. Like, still have the items locked behind the event, so you still have to play it to get the items. Because if you're not able to play The Sims 4, you lose a bunch of items if you're not able to do the events. Also, we've moved on to the hallway now. This is probably the room I hate the most out of the entire house. And you probably noticed that one really glitchy window. I just cover it up, because it looks really good from the outside, so I just decided to cover it up with a bookshelf. I think when it comes to interiors, the thing that I'm the worst at is hallways, because I end up repeating just a lot of furniture pieces, just tons of bookshelves and end tables and mirrors. On the bright side, it would be very easy to tell if a vampire was in your house. So if you also have any tips on how to make hallways not suck, that would be very appreciated. Another room that wasn't particularly fun was the bathroom, because it has 2 doors into it, but the doors aren't even. And trying to find a good color scheme took me a while for some reason, but I think I got it to look nice in the end. As for the bedrooms, for the nurse sim, I tried to go for a very clean look, but in the other houses I've had, her bedroom has always been a super bright purple. So I imagine when she bought this house, she was like, ah yes, time to adult, and tried to go for a clean look, but just made it really messy instead, cause she ain't got time to clean. But I do think my main sim tries to help her out a little bit in that department. And for my main sim's bedroom, I tried to keep it the same as what she's had in all the other houses, which is like lots of reds and purples, with little hints of supernatural items here and there. And I think her bedroom turned out really nice compared to her sister's. You can now see what I was talking about with the bathroom, where it's such an odd shape with everything I wanted to include in it. There's no laundry room, because I think probably what was the laundry room got turned into the boys' bathroom, so she just kind of shoved it in here. This is definitely going to be the busiest room in the house, which is fine. I like a challenge. Also, it's going to be kind of weird, but I end up doing the living room last because that was the room I struggled with the most. I keep saying that, but I struggled with the whole damn house. You'll also notice with the nurse's bedroom, I was going to do that purple theme again, but I ended up deciding halfway through to switch it out because I didn't think the colors were meshing very well, so I ended up switching it out for a white and yellow color scheme. But since I didn't do purple for the main color scheme of the room, I decided to use a bunch of purple accents instead, because I'm so clever and smart. Also because I wanted to be able to differentiate between their bedrooms a little bit better. We're now almost at the end of the bathroom. The last thing I do is I go in and add a rug and a plant, because I can say with absolute confidence that that is one thing that every room in this house has. End tables, rugs, and plants. Everywhere. It's the same way in every corner you'll notice a lamp, chair, bookshelf, or a plant. Every single corner. Which doesn't sound that crazy until you realize in real life, corners are usually pretty empty. That or the corner is just for random junk. So I try and live out my dream of every corner having a purpose in The Sims. Also, I just thought about something that made me irrationally angry as a child, and I might as well talk to you about it now. It has nothing to do with houses or The Sims or anything, but I wanted to see if anybody else noticed that the guy on the Halloween Town High promotional pictures is so badly edited. And it's like, I can't even tell you what's wrong, but something definitely is. It's like they cut out the head and put it on his body and then took a completely different hand and put it in as well. It's horrendous. And I'm telling you, because if I have to suffer, you have to suffer as well. We will both now live with that knowledge. It's not good or useful knowledge, but it's knowledge. And you can tell it's edited because he's right next to people, so you know how he's supposed to look proportionally. But anyway, I just wanted to know if anybody else had noticed that. We're now officially at the 30-minute mark. Yippee! You also don't have to worry about me putting all these pictures up and missing something because I'm just putting them up whenever I'm scrolling through the catalog. So you're not missing any juicy details. And even though they have screwed me over multiple times in the past, I do put down closets in this house. Because I'm going for realism, baby. And I end up using this CC closet because it's not like we don't have a 1x2 closet. It's just not the style I'm going for. So it will be linked in the description for all your closet needs. Also, I was completely wrong. I forgot I didn't put any purple in this bedroom because I end up switching everything at the desk out for a different color, so I never ended up putting any purple in it. So I was wrong. I'm not that smart. But I do end up putting down some purple makeup, so I guess I was kind of right, she said. Like a liar. The final things I do for this bedroom is go in and give her a rug and a mirror, put in a few more clutter items, and that's about it. For this room, I didn't really know where to put the bed. You saw earlier, I tried to put it on the same wall the desk was on, and to me it just looked really awkward. I also thought about maybe putting it where the picture frames are, but that also looked really awkward to me, so I just decided to put it underneath the wall with the 2 windows. Even though I don't like having beds up against windows, I thought it gave her the most amount of space. I had also thought about giving her a fan, but I don't know about you guys. I find that fans are really annoying for gameplay. They're just constantly in the way, which if you don't have a thermostat will cool your Sims down, but this house has a thermostat, so it feels like there's no real need for it. But it feels so realistic to have a fan in the bedroom. But I ultimately ended up deciding not to put one down. But now we have finished the primary bedroom and we are moving on to my main Sims bedroom. Like I said, I tried to go for reds, purples, yellows. I don't have a lot of skill building items in her room because I don't really know what she likes. She rarely gets pop-ups for likes and dislikes. I tried to get her into gemology when Crystal Creations came out, but she just would never like it. She does like to garden though, so I put some gardening pots outside. And in her bedroom, I ended up putting a meditation spot, because I feel like that's something she could be into. I haven't had her try it yet, but I figured, why not? I'll try it. I also gave her an easel to see if she's into painting. I'm desperate for this girl to like something at this point. But I also gave her a mirror and a laptop in hopes of some form of skill building coming from them, because I like to give my Sims their own laptops and lock them for each of them. Otherwise, when people come over, they will use the computer constantly, or a Sim will be in somebody else's bedroom using their computer, and it's just weird. I also built this house before the burglar update came out, so there is no security system. When I start playing with it, I'll go in and add one. I don't know where though, but there will be one. And now I'm going in and adding light switches into every single room, because that is a very significant detail. I told you, I'm going for realism. Ow! But I think her bedroom is probably my favorite out of the entire house. Like, her bedroom is number 1, and then the dining room is second. I think those are the rooms where my work shines best. You'll also see that I accidentally put some of the wallpaper in her sister's bedroom. I do go in and fix that at the end, so don't worry. I know you care very deeply about that one piece of wall. And I'm still talking instead of playing music because the idea of copyright scares the living shit out of me. It's like I could find a copyright-free song, but the creator of it could copyright it at any time they want, and then I'm just fucked. So instead, I'm just talking to avoid having to put any music at all. Which hopefully you've enjoyed my yap session, because I never want to do a video this length ever again. You're also gonna notice that I spend a long time trying to find a purple chair that matches the wall, which, come to find out, doesn't exist. But once I'm done trying to find a non-existent chair, I go in and put down the easel and the meditation spot, and I also gave the nurse a guitar because she is always playing the guitar constantly. It's incredibly annoying because she will put off work to do it. It's like, bitch, people are dying! But it's something she enjoys and I want her to have some form of personality, so I gave it to her. We're now about to move on into the last room, which is the living room. It feels very overly fancy to me, so I tried to clutter it up, but in the end, I just gave up and let it be. Because like I said earlier, even though she's a mom who's like, keep all your crap in your room, I imagine she's more talk than showing action, because she babies the crap out of them. I think once the boys are older, I'll stick the chicken in the garage. I'm thinking about that chicken again. Maybe one could have a chicken and one could have a hamster. Do chickens eat hamsters? Hang on, give me just a second. Do chickens eat hamsters? I'm getting opposite answers, but yes, apparently hamsters can eat chicken in moderation. I'm gonna take it as a no and say that chickens can't eat hamsters. I just didn't know if like a hamster pisses one off enough if it'll start chewing, because I feel like a hamster's pretty chicken-sized. But if you know the actual answer to that, let me know. Because there's wild hamsters and rats and stuff, so I feel like a chicken could get into a battle with a hamster. And in terms of The Sims, the hamsters have nukes. If you look at their cages long enough, you'll see little explosives and whatnot. So I feel like a hamster could do some real damage. But in the game, there's also the death chicken, so let me know who you think would win that. I personally think that the death chicken would win, but I do think the hamster could hold up its own for a good while. Wait, you know what? I'm gonna rephrase that. Can a chicken kill a rat? Chickens can kill rats, so I think that the chicken is winning. I think this has been the most insightful conversation I have ever had. And now you're leaving with more information on Halloween Town High and chickens. So this has also been an educational experience. Yippee! And in terms of the living room, I am now just going in and cluttering it up, and that is going to finish off the living room. Also, since one side of the window wasn't glitched, I just decided to put a plant there instead of a bookshelf. So as long as nobody moves that bookshelf, the house will look completely fine and normal. And now that you've seen me build the house, you now understand why I will not be posting it. I used a lot of CC. I didn't mean to, but I did. Like I said, you can blame Max20 and Peacemaker for that. We're now almost at the end of the build, and I hope you enjoyed it, and that you are, at the very least, leaving this video very confused. I will hopefully never do a video this length again. Fuck that. And at the end here, I'm going to put some very nice photos for you to look at, so you can admire the work we did together. Well, I say that we did together, you didn't do shit. You really need to start lifting your weight in these builds. And I hope you enjoyed. Okay, bye. Now that I'm done filming, I can go down my conveniently placed stairs. Whoa! Ow. 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 Hit the cat. Ow. Ow. My duodenum. Ow. Ow. It's almost like I'm falling down the stairs just to fill up this photo section. Ow. Fuck. Shit. Damn it. Ow. Ow again. Get the fuck out of here. Ow. 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 Ow.